charge. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Hello there, it's 6 o'clock. I'm Michelle Dewberry and this is Dewbs & Co. What a day, ladies and gents. Let me tell you, nobody does pomp and ceremony like us Brits do. Donald Trump's second state visit. It was a feast for the eyes. But of course, it's pomp with a massive side dish of purpose and business to get down to as well. Let's take a look at all of that. I can tell you though, not everybody is happy about Donald Trump being in town. Yet more protests happening as we speak. We will take you there. And meanwhile, something Keir Starmer needs like an absolute hole in the head. The first defection of an elected official from Labour to Reform. Is it the start of many or not? Keeping me company, my panel tonight, I've got Reform UK councillor Layla Cunningham and former Labour Minister Bill Rammell. But first, give you your 6 o'clock news.
Very good evening to you. It's 1 minute past 6. I'm Katie Bowen in the GB Newsroom. The King has welcomed President Donald Trump to Windsor Castle as his second state visit to the UK gets underway. The President and First Lady were joined by their Majesties alongside Sir Keir Starmer and Lady Starmer for the Beating Retreat ceremony, which took place on the East Lawn at Windsor Castle. The event culminated in a flypast from the RAF's Red Arrows as proceedings concluded. 4 F-35 military jets were due to take part in the display, although it was reduced due to weather conditions. Also this afternoon, the President has visited the tomb of Queen Elizabeth II to pay his respects to the late monarch, and he laid a wreath at the tomb in St George's Chapel, which he called a great honour. A state banquet will take place at the castle later this evening, and we'll bring you all of those events as they happen here on GB News. Well, away from Windsor, protests against the historic second visit have been taking place in central London, organised by the Stop Trump coalition. And some breaking news in the last hour. The Home Secretary has branded efforts to frustrate the partial migrant returns deal with France as intolerable and has vowed to appeal yesterday's court decision. The Home Office has confirmed for a third day that no migrants left for France today. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood says she will fight efforts to frustrate removals at every step, confirming that the Home Office will appeal the High Court's decision yesterday to temporarily block the deportation of an Eritrean migrant to France. And back to that state visit, Britain and the US have struck a tech deal that could bring billions of pounds of investment to the UK. Sir Keir Starmer said the agreement represented a general step change in Britain's relationship with the US that would deliver growth, security and opportunity up and down the country. The tech prosperity deal, announced as Mr Trump arrived last night, will see the UK and US cooperate in areas including artificial intelligence, quantum computing and nuclear power. It comes alongside £31 billion of investment in Britain from America's top technology companies, including £22 billion from Microsoft. Elsewhere today, a Labour councillor has defected to Reform UK, claiming his former party is lost and mired in scandal. Mason Humberstone, who is Stevenage's youngest councillor, made the announcement in a post on X this morning. It comes after defections by both Danny Kruger and Maria Caulfield, who both defected from the Conservative Party. A man who allegedly sent WhatsApp messages to 5 people within Westminster circles, including MPs, has been charged with blackmail and communications offences. The charge of blackmail relates to alleged unwarranted demands for the phone numbers of up to 12 individuals. 28-year-old Oliver Steadman, who's also been charged with communications offences in relation to the sending of alleged unsolicited indecent images. Last year, a string of men, mostly working in politics, revealed they had received unsolicited, flirtatious WhatsApp messages, and in some cases, explicit images were exchanged. Mr. Steadman was suspended as a member of the Labour Party after they were notified of his arrest in June last year. Those are the latest GB News headlines. Now let's go back to Michelle.
For all the latest from GB News whilst you're on the go, get the GB News app. Scan the QR code now to download or visit gbnews.com/app.
Thank you very much for that, and hello, good evening to each and every single one of you at home. My name's Michelle Dewberry. This is Dewbs & Co, keeping you company till 7 o'clock tonight. Alongside me, keeping me company in the studio, I've got Reform UK councillor Layla Cunningham. Alongside her, I've got the former Labour Minister, Bill Rammell. Good evening to both of you. You're very welcome tonight. As are each and every single one of you at home, what, ladies and gents, is on your mind today? Have you been following? What a fantastic, fantastic display. I've got to tell you, all of the pomp and ceremony, of course, the second state visit for Donald Trump. I want your thoughts on it all. Email me, gbviews@gbnews.com. Go to the website, gbnews.com/yoursay, or you can get in touch with me on Twitter or X or whatever you call it. Look, we all knew that this day was coming. Protests are taking place as we speak. I'll get to those lots in a minute. But before I do, I just want to take you back, a little trip down memory lane. Let's remind ourselves, shall we, how this all started back in April 2025.
It is my pleasure to bring from His Majesty the King a letter. He sends his best wishes and his regards, of course, but he also asked me to bear this letter and bring it to you. So can I present the letter from the King to you?
Thank you very much.
Well, that was right at the start, wasn't it? And there's been lots and lots of debate about whether or not that was a smart move. I'd absolutely be fascinated to see whether or not Keir Starmer looks back with regrets or whether or not he thinks it was the right decision. Put your feet up. Let's relax and listen to our royal correspondent, Cameron Walker. He will tell us all of the goings-on of the day.
Well, it's been a day of pomp and pageantry here at Windsor Castle, an unprecedented second state visit for President Trump, and he really was given the royal welcome, and he arrived here in the Marine One helicopter in the walled garden, which in itself is unprecedented. Then he had a carriage ride up to the quadrangle here at Windsor Castle, where he was invited by King Charles to inspect the Guard of Honour. Now, 5 years ago, President Trump was heavily criticised for walking in front of the late Queen when he was invited to inspect the Guard of Honour then. But I think it was pretty clear that King Charles wanted the president to walk in front of him this afternoon to inspect the Guard of Honour. That is protocol. That is what President Macron of France did just a couple of months ago. And there was a clear point, I think, from King Charles to put quite a lot of distance between him and the president when he was walking up and down the lines of soldiers. Because back in 2019, it looked a little bit awkward, perhaps, with President Trump only slightly in front of the Queen and not really sure where he was going. But he was clearly in control this time. Elsewhere in St George's Chapel, I spent time with President Trump, where I not only ran into our very own Bev Turner, who was part of a US pool there, but President Trump paid his respects at the tomb of the late Queen Elizabeth II. And following that, he listened to a choir. He then came back out onto the East Lawn, where he spent time with the King, the King and the First Lady and the Queen to watch magnificent red arrows fly past that flew right over the castle with the red, white and blue smoke. The two F-35 jets of the UK and the US. Unfortunately, due to weather conditions, they could not fly, so he only had the red arrows. And then, of course, later on this evening, there is the magnificent state banquet. And what I've also been told is that this afternoon, President Trump had a private meeting with the Prince and Princess of Wales. Oh, to be a fly on the wall in that meeting, Michelle.
Interesting stuff. That's Cameron Walker there. Thank you very much for that update. Have you been glued to some of this footage, if you've been able to, this afternoon? I've got to tell you, I'm not really. I don't really sit and watch all this stuff for hours on end, but I've actually found it quite a shot in the arm, an uplifting boost, and I think we all need one of those. And I've actually looked on quite proudly, because when you see what we can do as a nation, it is absolutely glorious, spectacular. I don't feel like anyone put a single foot wrong. I feel like it all just went exactly as it ought to have done. Bill Rammell, your initial reactions to today?
I think it's gone very well, and I'm delighted that the state visit is taking place. It's about our national interest. America is the global superpower, and whoever is in the White House, we have to, as a country and a government, work with them. Keir Starmer, and there was a lot of predictions that he wouldn't have a good working relationship with Donald Trump. He clearly has developed a good working relationship. There's a mutual respect. But Trump is mercurial, unpredictable, and I think, and he's open to flattery, and the granting of a second state visit, I think, was the right thing to do, and it's, you know, it is clearly brought dividends. You know, the amount of investment, particularly the 31 billion tech deal, the investment zone in the northeast, which is going to bring about 5,000 jobs, that's using the power of the monarchy, of the government, working with the Trump administration to bring investment, jobs and opportunity to this country.
Yeah, and I mean, you can see what it meant to Donald Trump, because, of course, he's got his Scottish connection. Donald Trump has spoke often about when he was a little boy, and he speaks about the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II, watching it in awe, the impact that it had on his mum. He's never, ever forgotten that, and he's always felt this incredibly strong connection to the royals, to the UK as a result. And you could just see him. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. The man has got an ego, most people have, but he loved it. That ego was getting a stroking and then some today.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw that the imagery in the videos, I was so proud to be British, and we're one of the, I think, you know, one of the few countries that put that on, and we should use it. But I don't agree that just by flattering him, we get what we want. I think Trump has clearly shown that he will do whatever it takes to put America first. And if a deal, no matter how much pageantry you put, if the tech deal that he's done with us is not good for America, no matter how much pageantry you put on for him, it's not, because the USA places a huge premium on a growing alliance between trade, tech and security. And that recognises the growing power of Iran and Russia. And I think their motto, and should be our motto, is adapt or die. And what we do the next few years is going to be the difference between winning or losing and setting the world order. And partnerships with the US is, to respond to shared challenges, is going to put us at the forefront of that. And anyone like Sadiq Khan or other Labour MPs or Liberal Democrats MPs who've said that he shouldn't be here, Trump won millions of votes, more than any Republican in history. And to say that he shouldn't be here is actually a rejection of the democratic process. Like you say, Bill, we agree on that. You know, he is, I don't care who's running the USA, they're our greatest ally in defense, intelligence, trade, and they've always been, much more than France, much more than any country that we call our ally, and he should be given the red carpets, of course.
No, absolutely. But look, I get where people are coming from. You know, something like 60% of the British people oppose Trump. I saw a poll the other day that if the American election had been amongst Brits, Kamala Harris would have won by a landslide. But
What's that got to do with the price of fish? That's like saying if my auntie had wheels, she'd be a bus.
No.
British people choosing the American
but
president.
it's demonstrating that I get where the British people are coming from, that many of them disagree fundamentally with Donald Trump. But this is about the national interest. And politicians who refuse to go to the banquet or go out of their way to attack him on the days of the state visit, I think are grandstanding, it's self-indulgent, and it's about about them, it's not about the country.
Exactly. I mean, frankly, they shouldn't be politicians because it's a detriment to our national interest. It is in our national interest to get very close with America in trade, defence, intelligence, and anyone who hinders that is not representing British interests. It's not a personal relationship. They're not meant to be buddies. This is the United States. We've hosted Xi Jinping, haven't we? We've hosted Gulf monarchs whose human rights records are disastrous, and nobody kicked up a fuss. So I think we need to open him with open arms, and I'm so happy he's here, and we can only learn from America. You know, they're really leading on the AI, and I think we have a lot to offer for that.
But you know, the government takes a lot of criticism, but actually you talk about trade and investment, and you know, the way we've handled the Trump administration, does it work? We've got the best trade deal. I mean, look, I think tariffs across the board are disastrous, but we've got the best deal of any country in the world. No. And that's a major part due to the way that the government, with the support of the monarchy, has handled it.
I don't think Trump has much respect for our government. I think he recognises that he needs to have a relationship with them. He recognises that there is an oppression of freedom of speech, and he recognises that that's damaging tech companies, American tech companies. But what we should just focus on is our relationship with AI. We need to be an AI superpower, and AI doesn't learn in a vacuum. It learns from data, from information, books, papers, art, and if we choke it off like some countries are with strict copyright rules, we strangle innovation. And that's another thing that I think America wants to work with us, is got nothing to do with the government, is that we have libraries of knowledge, world-leading universities, decades of published work, and we should be a hub for generative AI, not victims of the strangulation of regulation. And we need legislation, and we need a government that passes legislation that enables AI and not stifles it, and enables innovation.
Well, these deals demonstrate that the investors recognise that there is an appetite for that kind of approach and an AI positive approach. But you say, Layla, that Trump doesn't respect the Prime Minister or the government. I mean, listen to the words out of his own mouth. He likes and respects Keir Starmer, although he says he's a lot more liberal than I am. And, you know, Trump is someone that if he doesn't like you, he says it publicly.
I know, but I think, or I suspect, I reckon that Donald Trump might not know a lot of some of the stuff that goes down in this country, because when you listen to everyone having these conversations, he was on, I think it was Air Force One, and it was our Beverly Turner. She was asking him, I think it was about Lucy Connolly, and Donald Trump didn't really seem to know the ins and outs of that story. And I think sometimes if Donald Trump knew some of the things that go on in this country when it comes to what many people, Bill, would call an attack on free speech, I wonder if he would still share that sentiment that you described.
Well, you and I have debated this before. I think Lucy Connolly is not about free speech. It's about the rule of law and incitement to violence, which is unacceptable. But, you know,
yeah,
Trump is...
That's why we have Labour councillors walking the street after standing on the streets, basically suggesting that people should have their throats slit.
Yeah, and that's wholly wrong.
Or that singer who said if you talk you get banged or
yeah, no, and that was disgusting and abhorrent.
Who said go kill an MP, but they were not prosecuted.
You think I'm in favour of that? Sorry, my understanding is that's still going through legal processes. It's being investigated, okay. And you know this is always put forward.
Lucy Connolly was dealt with very quickly.
Yeah, because she pleaded guilty, and if you don't plead
guilty,
has
even been charged or brought to court.
Let's not get into the weeds of live legal cases, because I do want to continue my conversation with you guys, because there is a lot that we need to get through. Because whilst we're sitting here talking to you, many people are braving the cold, out with the placards. Always often these same paid-for placards, by the way. I can't help but notice. Anyway, we'll take you live to the protests that are taking place in London after the break.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show Live starts Monday night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around, a nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Dewbs and Co with me, Michelle Dewberry, Bill Rammell and Layla Cunningham. I can tell you now there's a lot of people echoing that sentiment, that you feel very proud to be British, you feel very proud of the display that has been put on today. And actually, irrespective of what you even think about Donald Trump, and there is a lot of business that needs to be discussed and fleshed out. That, of course, will take place as that state visit continues tomorrow. But for now, it was an absolutely incredible show. And that is absolutely been echoed by you guys at home as well. Not everybody, though, not everybody, I can tell you, is very happy. There is indeed a live protest that is taking place in central London as we speak. We're just getting a connection up to our man that is there live on the street. I shall take you there in a second. One of my viewers got in touch and said that poll that you quoted, whatever, was it 67% of Brits 60%. Didn't want? Yeah, one of my viewers says, and I agree with the sentiment, who on earth is it that these pollsters seem to find and survey? I've never been polled, ever. That's the point my viewer's making.
I have once. I mean, you know...
Who are these people?
Well, it's a nationally representative sample of 2,000 people, and they actually contact about 10,000 people in order to get the balance right.
Well, I'm desperate to be polled, ladies and gents. If you have a polling company, come and talk to me. I'd love to give you my views. Look, let's cross live to that protest then, shall we, ladies and gents? Will Godley, good evening to you.
Evening, Michelle. Yeah, we're here at the rally that's happening now outside the Houses of Parliament after an afternoon where thousands and thousands of protesters protesting against Donald Trump being here marched throughout central London with placards, chants, banners, all with one common goal. They're not happy that Donald Trump is here. And there was a rally that's been happening here since 5 p.m. this evening with people like Nish Kumar, the comedian on stage, also leader of the Green Party, Zach Polanski, and former leader of the Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn, both of whom I've caught up with in the last few minutes. Take a look. Why is it important for you to speak here? Zach, why is it, Zach, GB News, why is it important for you to speak here today?
Get through to the BBC. Yeah, unfortunately, you're going to have to go round.
Zach, why is it important for you to speak here today as leader of the Green Party? Zach, GB News, do you have 30 seconds?
Sorry, I'm just going to the BBC, but thank you.
Why is it important for you to be here today?
Sorry, I didn't hear it.
Why is it important for you to be here today, Jeremy?
To show there's an alternative to economic division, social division and the rise of racism in our society.
How does it make you feel that Donald Trump's in the UK?
Well, it's unusual to have a second state visit to the same person. Very strange, and he's not actually meeting anybody on this trip. It's just a choreographed visit for the benefit of American television. We're showing us a few people here that would like to tell him something different. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeremy. Jeremy Corbyn, their former leader of the Labour Party, was speaking up here earlier on today. Well, someone who's about to speak on stage here is Dr. Mandeep Rai. Dr. Mandeep, thanks for joining us. Why is it important for you to be here today and speak on stage?
Well, this is an audience that stands for many different things. They stand for race, migration, making sure we have women's rights, making sure that there's freedom of speech. And I think for all those reasons, what we're really standing for are the values of Britain, and the values of England are steadfastness. Like, keep calm, carry on, but make sure that you act. And I think that right now, people don't feel like there's much power in their hands. So that opportunity to be able to stand for something and to take the streets really matters. These are ours.
Do you not think Donald Trump's values align with your values then?
Well, the values of America are those of entrepreneurship, and we are seeing those at play.
How does it make you feel that Donald Trump's here then in the UK?
It's a tough one because he represents so many different things. Today he's with Prince Charles and Camilla in Windsor, and they're entertaining him. I'd say what it gives is our country an opportunity to be able to speak up, and that is absolutely critical at a time like this.
Dr. Mandeep Rai from the Values Compass, thanks for joining us on GB News. The rally here is continuing, thousands here protesting the fact Donald Trump's here in the UK.
Well, Godley, thank you very much for that. And by the way, hello and good welcome to GB News. I know you've only just joined us. It is a pleasure to have you on board. Look, I tell you now, by the way, that last interview as well, the entrepreneurial vision of America, that should be our vision in this country. We should have, you know, in America, you've got the American dream. Everyone wants to try and build something, create something. When they fail, if they fail, as people often do, that's not laughed at, that's not smeared upon or anything like that. It's celebrated because you know what, you will have learnt lessons. You dust yourself off, you go again. Here, when we have entrepreneurs desperate to create success, I feel like if you sit still long enough, the kind of vision from this government is, how can I take more tax off you? How can I make things harder? That's what I was reflecting on when I was listening to that lady. Anyway, Leila, your thoughts?
No, I agree. I mean, we have a government that wants to tax everything they can. Regulation is stifling innovation. So many of our unicorns are listing in America. Worse, one of our best unicorns, Revolut, has gone and put its headquarters in Paris because of too much regulation here. Paris, France. We left the EU to deregulate, and both governments have failed to deregulate. We are stifling our entrepreneurs and innovators. I don't know if you heard of a 17-year-old entrepreneur who created an app called Quitter, which is to help men quit porn. And I heard him on the radio, and he said that here it was so hard to grow his business. It was so hard to raise money. And he moved to America, and he said, it's like I'm in a different world. Everyone's like, when can I help? And they're celebrating success, not looking down on it.
Well, there you go. I shall be browsing that app when I get home. Interesting recommendation there, isn't it? Other apps, I'm sure, are available. Bill Ramel, your thoughts on what you've just been hearing?
Well, I mean, the government is open to cutting unnecessary regulation. You know, the removal of the previous chair of the Competition and Markets Authority was a deliberate move in a deregulatory...
The chair is hardly regulation.
Yeah, of course, yeah, because they're overseeing the regulation.
No, they're not. Parliament is sovereign. Parliament passes regulation, please, and legislation.
Leila, a lot of what are called NGOs drive regulation, and that removal of the chair was
you said it. You said it. We are governed by NGOs.
Hold on.
We don't vote for NGOs.
Let him get his point out. Go on, Bill.
Absolutely. The Competition and Markets Authority has a significant impact on regulation of business within this country, and the removal of the chair and replacement was a positive step in a deregulatory direction. And we need deregulation, we need growth, we need innovation. But in terms of the protests there, I get where people are coming from. You know, there are many reasons to oppose Donald Trump, but in the... his position on tariffs, his attitude to democracy.
What's his attitude to democracy?
Well, storming Capitol, inciting the storming of Capitol Hill.
He did
to overturn a democratically elected election. He's monstering of Zelensky in the White House. I could go on. But, and that's why something like 60% of people oppose Trump. However, that same poll shows that despite Trump's popularity, the British people overwhelmingly want the government to work with him to try and make progress, and I think that is the right approach.
This point on tariffs and things like that will get discussed a lot more tomorrow at the business end of the state visit, I'm sure. But when you say, you know, there's a lot of reasons to dislike Trump, and you call tariffs as one of those reasons, the American people elected Donald Trump because they wanted a president that put America first and was unashamedly going to put Americans first. Those tariffs are trying to ensure that American industry prospers above all others. Many people would like a government like this in our country.
But it doesn't work. The history books show you that once you start a trade war and you start imposing tariffs, yes, it hits your competitors. Hold on. It hits your competitors, but it also hits you. And that's why, I'll come back to the polling evidence. If you look at the polling evidence, Americans oppose tariffs.
Bill, go on. America's manufacturing industry has been decimated by cheap imports from China. China operates like a third world country in the WTO, so there's no regulatory parity between the USA, UK and China. And admittedly, that's what we need. They can do things. They can subsidize, they can have government subsidies that we're not allowed. Because China is not communist. It's a state-sponsored corporation, and money is given from the middle. But what I'm saying is, you need tariffs to protect your industries, whether you agree with it or not.
So, Layla, you're in favour of tariffs?
I'm in favour of whatever it takes to protect my industry and my country. Hang on, I let you speak. For me...
You're very well managed, you two. Go on.
For me, what Donald Trump, like him or loathe him, he was elected on a mandate, and he got that mandate done. Illegal migration is down by 97%. And Labour and Lib Dems, or Conservatives, might see that as a threat because they didn't realise that you can actually get things done. You can actually keep your promises. He did exactly what it takes. And I want to see a bit more of this government saying we will do what it takes to keep Britain thriving. And the net zero is not helping that, right? That is net zero. Do you think net zero is helping our economy?
Yeah, you massively exaggerate the impact of net zero. Nigel Farage has talked about 350 billion.
We are paying 75% more energy costs than the USA.
Hold on. Which is a cost over 25 years, half of it borne by the private sector. But Layla,
that's not true.
Layla, your support...
It's not true. You live in a bubble.
No.
You live in a bubble.
I think you live in a bubble.
What bubble do I live in?
You know, the right-wing bubble with reform supporters. Look,
can you describe to me that right-wing bubble? No. You called it right-wing. Describe to me what right-wing means. Describe to me what right-wing means.
If we're going to do this programme properly, you've got to be allowed...
You cannot throw around terms like right-wing. Define right-wing to me.
No, Layla.
Layla,
if we're going to do this programme properly, you have a right to speak, I have a right to speak. And what you have said about tariffs is really interesting in terms of the positioning of reform, because you say you're in favour of tariffs.
It's my own personal opinion.
Yeah, but sorry, you say you're in favour of tariffs, and you then in another breath talk about deregulation and business.
Yes.
The whole of the business community in this country...
Tariffs has nothing to do with regulation, Bill. They're totally... One's foreign policy and one's national policy. It's completely different.
Can you let me finish my sentences without being interrupted? The whole of business is lobbying to get a reduction of tariffs because they know how, whether it's steel, whether it's aerospace, because they know how damaging it is to British jobs and British industry.
No, so let's go back. You said that I'm in a right-wing bubble. I'd like to go back to that because I think that's bandied around a lot. You had Sadiq Khan say the people on the march were right-wing. You've called me right-wing. I had someone else call me hard-right. So can you describe what a right-wing bubble means, please?
It's a form of... Are you really suggesting to me that the reform agenda is not on any historical political analysis a right-wing position?
Can you describe to me what's right-wing about reform, please?
Yeah, it's a populist party.
What's populist? What does populist mean?
Populist means delivering simplistic solutions for very complicated problems that don't add up.
You know what populist means to me? It means representing people that have been ignored. Sadiq Khan called us reactionary populists. And what does reactionary mean? Reacting to feeling betrayed,
reactionary
ignored.
is aligning yourself with Tommy Robinson, who's a violent criminal.
I'd rather be a reactionary populist than a silent elitist that ignores everyone's demands to keep their power, and that's what Labour's doing.
When did it become a thing? Because I have a bit of a sense that apparently it feels like it's a good thing, it's acceptable, it ticks a box to say that you're left-wing. But if you're even getting a sniff of potentially even being right-wing, that feels to me like somehow the suggestion is that you're somehow a terrible, awful human being. I found that absolutely nonsensical, and I've got to say that there's nothing wrong, quite frankly, with being either on the left of politics, the centre of politics, or to the right of politics. I do feel, I want to stress that point. I also, very quickly, I need to go to a break, but I want to just stress one other point. There's been a lot of conversation on social media tonight about the arrests at Unite the Kingdom. There's been lots of debate about how many arrests were. There was a claim made today, it went viral, that actually there was only about 8 or 9 arrests that sat with the Unite the Kingdom march. Metropolitan Police have just issued a statement as I've come on air saying we're aware of personal necks about the arrests during the Unite the Kingdom protest. We wanted to provide an update. We made 24 arrests on Saturday. They say 23 was believed to be people involved in the Unite the Kingdom protest. 1 was believed, they say, to be involved in the counter-protest. There you go. What do you make to that? Coming up after the break, there's a lot more that we need to discuss. Do not go anywhere.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you're thinking of avoiding the unsettled weather in the UK and heading overseas, you'll find very warm weather in Spain, across the Canaries, as well as Madeira, unusually warm for the time of year. Portugal likewise, but some showery rain affecting southern parts of Portugal. Meanwhile, plenty of sunshine through Spain into the Alps, much of Italy as well, turning hotter here over the next few days. Staying breezy for Greece, particularly the islands, but most places enjoying long spells of sunshine.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello again and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. During the next 24 hours we can expect misty and damp weather to continue in the south whilst it stays mild. Further north, clearer, fresher but also very breezy as this area of low pressure moves into the north of Scotland. Isobars tighten, strong winds overnight along with heavy showers and longer spells of rain for the Northern Isles, the Outer Hebrides into the Northwest Highlands. But for the rest of Scotland, breezy, yes, however, all that combined with clear spells, as well as Northern Ireland, Northern England seeing clear spells at times overnight. In the south, Wales, across the Midlands, the south of England, it's going to be a misty night with a lot of low cloud, outbreaks of light rain and drizzle, but a mild start to Thursday with temperatures of 17 or 18 first thing. Now, the rain and drizzle across the south of England will ease through the morning. It will push further north into Wales, but for Northern England, Northern Ireland, as well as for much of the south and east of Scotland, plenty of bright weather first thing. However, there will be a keen breeze, and that strong wind across the north and northwest of Scotland will continue to drive heavy showers and longer spells of rain in as the day goes on, but those showers becoming fewer later on from the west. The rain in the south will move north, and so after a bright start to the day, Northern England, Southern Scotland, Northern Ireland turn wet into the afternoon. The rain not quite reaching the central belt, 18 Celsius here, but it's very warm in the south as skies brighten, 23 or 24 Celsius. An even warmer day expected on Friday in the southeast, with temperatures reaching the mid-20s in places. Likewise, it's bright but cool across much of Scotland, Northern Ireland and for parts of northwest England. But in between, there will be spells of wet weather through Friday, and that rain will be fairly extensive as we start the weekend before gradually getting drier next week.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good evening. This is the latest AI travel news from GBnews.com. The A9 northbound at Cromarty is delayed due to a broken down vehicle. A collision on the A1M southbound at junction 62 in Durham closed one lane, causing delays. There are moderate delays on the M6 northbound between Cheshire East junctions 19 and 20. Significant delays occur on the A446 northbound in Warwickshire due to congestion. Motorists near East Sussex should note lane closures on the A27 due to a traffic incident. And on the trains, expect disruption with cross-country between Exeter, St David's and Newton Abbot. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Dewbs & Co. with me, Michelle Dewberry. I've got Layla Cunningham and Bill Rammell alongside me. I can tell you now the sentiment that quite frankly, whoever was in charge of the US is coming through thick and fast from you guys at home, that you don't care who it is, you don't care what anyone's personal opinion is of the president. You absolutely do believe en masse that the UK should be working with the president and getting close relations. Let's just remind ourselves, of course, if you are just tuning in, we've had the second state visit for President Trump. It took place, interestingly, at Windsor Castle today. So there were no kind of grand carriages going up and down the Mall. There was no Buckingham Palace. There was nothing like that today. It was all centred around Windsor Castle. Absolutely stunning, stunning location. Just as a layperson, to go to the Windsor Estates, to go on a tour of Windsor Castle, you know, you really do come away with a sense of something quite magical. Let alone when you've got this entire spread laid on for you. It's a spectacle of which we've never really seen before of this kind of magnitude. It was absolutely made for Donald Trump. He was a very, very happy man indeed. Of course, the state visit does continue tomorrow. That is when the business end really happens. Donald Trump is having a banquet now. Among those attendees, you've got what many people are calling the tech bros. This is all about focusing on the tech side of things, doing these deals, cutting deals, focusing on things like artificial intelligence. I want to take you there back to Windsor live now, where we can speak to the editor-at-large for the Mail on Sunday and royal expert, Charlotte Griffiths. Good evening to you, Charlotte. This is a huge deal for Donald Trump.
Yeah, it's absolutely more bells and whistles than even I predicted, and I'm a royal commentator. He has had absolutely everything extended to him. He was even encouraged to walk in front of King Charles when he was greeting the Guard of Honour, which is unheard of, and he did it by accident, Trump, when he met them in 2019 with the Queen. But this time he's been allowed deliberately to walk in front of the King, so there really is nothing that hasn't been laid out for him today.
I found that point that you make there is an interesting one, because when you look at a lot of the commentary that's been taking place, particularly, Charlotte, on social media, so many people are pointing out this fact that Donald Trump is actually, as you quite rightly say, ahead of the King when it comes to inspecting those guards. But that's what he was essentially invited to do.
Yes, he was invited to see England in all its pomp and circumstance, and really for King Charles to just say to him, using his soft power, really, look, you know, we are friends. The special friendship is real, and you know, anything you want, we will lay out for you today. You know, we saw Catherine on her best, beautiful royal appearance, and we saw William as well. The whole family was presented by Charles, and I just think it's a real show that, you know, the royal family has no intention of letting this special relationship slide.
I think we can look forward to tomorrow.
Tomorrow, they're off to Chequers. Actually, the women of the group are going to get together tomorrow. I think Camilla and Catherine and Melania are going to go and view a doll's house and look and inspect the gardens a bit here at Windsor. But then it's off to Chequers for the rest of the party. And as you say, it's the business end.
Interesting. Charlotte Griffiths, thank you very much for your time. I can tell you, though, not everybody is happy about Donald Trump being in the UK. I took you earlier on to London, where protests, of course, are taking place. But Sadiq Khan, he's one of these people. He can't seem to keep his mouth shut. I mean, I don't know. I want to get hold of Sadiq Khan and sit him down and tell him, grow up. No. Grow up. You are the mayor of London. This is the president of the United States. And he's constantly tweeting out things, including today, about Donald Trump stoking up essentially far-right rhetoric. Pack it in. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and I think he wrote that Donald Trump is divisive, and that comes from the master of divisiveness, because Sadiq Khan spent his whole mayorship dividing us into white, black, gay, trans, working class, microaggressions. That's what he loves doing. So for him to call him divisive is frankly an insult. And he ignores why and then he calls, I think he called the marchers far right dangerous to our country.
Yeah, he's always...
and he ignores why people are marching. And he says that people have a distrust in politicians. And why is that? Because they voted for one thing and they got something completely different. The problem is, Bill, is that Labour, and you have another MP, Andrew Burgin, a lot of MPs have called the people... Is it Andrew? Sorry, I might have got his name wrong. A lot of people from your party have called those marching on Saturday as far rights. And I just want to ask you a question. Is it far right to want secure borders? No. Is it far right to want more police? Is it far right to want the government to acknowledge the danger of placing unvetted men in hotels, some that have sexually abused our girls? Is that far right? Is that far right to say that we don't want to be divided into black, white, homosexual, transsexual? We're all British citizens, and that's what reform does. We don't divide, we unite. And I think what Labour is scared about is you offer hate, we offer hope.
Oh, that is quite a bold claim. Yes. I'm going to let Bill Rammell come back to that after the break, because I'm sure he will want to respond properly, and if he does it now, he won't have a chance. Let's get Bill's response to that after the break, and also talk about a defection from the Labour Party to reform. I'll see you in a sec.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Dewberry. Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection. Tune in to GB News, anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there short and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dewberry, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Hello everybody, Michelle Dewberry, Leila Cunningham and Bill Rammel. Phil, one of my viewers, says, Michelle, if Donald Trump was a candidate in this country, he would win by a landslide. He says our politicians are an absolute shambles. And he says if he had enough money, he would be gone. Lots of you share that sentiment. Before the break, Leila Cunningham was pointing out Sadiq Khan, his constant desire to keep calling people far right, talking about division, making out he wants to unify people while literally also calling people names such as far right. She was asking you whether or not things like wanting control of your borders, etc., is far right.
So specifically, Leila, you said to me, is it far right, is it right wing to be in favour of more police? Is it far right to be in favour of securing your borders? No, of course it's not. And this government is trying to deliver on those issues, but they are complicated and they take time. In terms of the demonstrators on Saturday, no, I think the vast majority of them were not far right, but the organisers of that march most certainly were. Tommy Robinson is a convicted criminal, a former football hooligan who is utterly vile. Elon Musk, who was piped into that rally and demonstration, was talking about violence is coming to you, fight back or die, a clear incitement to violence. Now, I would hope...
Anyone that watched that full Elon Musk speech, I do need to make this point because Elon Musk is not here to defend himself, of course, is always welcome. When you watch that full 18-minute speech, he wasn't telling people to get out and get your pitchfork and start stabbing each other up the backside. He was talking about rallying around and fighting against the changes
I respectfully disagree. I think his words have got meaning, and I think they were inciting people to commit violence. But in terms of, and you know, I would hope that Reform would distance themselves from the organisers of that demonstration. We'll wait to see if that's the case. But in terms of Sadiq...
Why? Why do they have to do that? Why?
Because we want respectable politicians who believe in the rule of law in this country, not people who are prepared to support a baying mob and people like Tommy Robinson. However, hold on, let me come to the... And you've spoken for an awful long time, so let me come to the point about Sadiq Khan. I think his criticisms are valid, but this is not the time to make them about Donald Trump, and I think it is grandstanding and it is unhelpful during a state visit when we should be seeking to persuade and negotiate with Trump.
Bill, so Sadiq Khan wasn't only vocal about Trump. He called the people on that march far right and dangerous, and he said minorities felt threatened walking in the streets, and they were a threat. I'll tell you what's the threat. It's no policing, it's cutting stop and search, it's every mother, every woman, every teenager walking down the street and worried they're going to be raped, mugged, every shop suffering shoplifting every half an hour. That's the real threat. And again, I'm going to ask you, you seem to agree that fighting for borders, fighting against illegal migrants who come here to sexually assault our girls, fighting for more police, fighting for more accountability from our politicians is not far right. So I'm going to come to a question at the end. But Sadiq Khan and you seem to think that populism is some kind of an insult. I wear that badge with pride because it means that I'm talking and I'm representing the people who have been silenced by the elite, by being smeared as racist, as far right. Hang on. I would rather be a populist than a silent elite that completely ignores people's concerns and safety and has the audacity to smear people far right who stand up and say enough to protect their position. So I'm going to ask you one more time, two questions. Do you agree with Sadiq Khan, your Labour member colleague, who says that everyone on that march is a threat to our country and is far right? And please tell me, on what basis do you call reform far right? Give me one thing we have said that you would classify as far right. If it's just populism, Bill, my friend, then I'm more than happy to wear that badge.
We've only got about a minute and a half left, so come on.
Grew up in a council house.
I don't want to...
No, hold on. You've had a long say. I grew up in a council house and went to a local comprehensive school and resent being called part of an elite. I'm not part of an elite. I've spent my life trying to represent people, but not peddling simplistic solutions for very complicated problems. And you ask me why reform are far right. I'll give you one example, the commitment to dismantle the National Health Service. And
that's a lie.
It's not a lie.
When was that said?
It was said in about 2015 by Nigel Farage.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, he said he wanted to move towards an insurance-based system.
And have you... you peddle such lies.
It's not a lie. It's not a lie.
You cannot debate the truth.
I will provide you with...
Labour cannot debate the truth.
I will provide you with the quote where he said it and when he said it.
It's shocking how Labour peddle lies to beat reform. Be honest with the people. That's why they don't trust you, because you lie over and over again. We never said that, and you know very well it's not that policy. Is that all you have to go on?
I gave you one example.
Give me one more example. Give me a real example, Bill.
That is categorically not true to say that Nigel Farage never said that.
Give me a real example.
Are you really saying Nigel Farage never said that?
Yes, I am.
If you are £100 bet...
that is not a reform policy.
I'll have a £100 bet with you.
I'm saying, listen, this is not a joke. It's not about £100. It's about the future of our country.
No, it's about denying things that your leader has said.
Give me why we are far right.
I've given you one example. I could give you other examples.
One more.
When you say populism is about representing the people, it's not.
Really?
It's about presenting misleading, simplistic solutions to very complicated
What have we presented as misleading solutions?
So, for example, your commitments to abolish income tax below £20,000 and not the first...
You mean the stealth income tax that you've imposed on our nation?
Are you going to let me finish?
No,
and not the first instance of how you're going to pay for it.
I'm not going to let either of you finish, thank you, because my programme's about to finish. Instead, I shall hear from Councillor Mason Humberson. He's a Labour councillor that's defected to reform. He says that he feels the Labour Party is too often speaking for a metropolitan elite rather than the people that they're meant to serve. He has gone. He feels very proud to have defected to Reform UK. I can tell you this debate will rumble on, but not on this programme it won't, because that's the end. Thanks, panel. Thanks to you at home. Have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Thank you very much.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello again and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. During the next 24 hours we can expect misty and damp weather to continue in the south whilst it stays mild. Further north, clearer, fresher but also very breezy as this area of low pressure moves into the north of Scotland. Isobars tighten, strong winds overnight along with heavy showers and longer spells of rain for the Northern Isles, the Outer Hebrides into the Northwest Highlands. But for the rest of Scotland, breezy, yes, however, all that combined with clear spells, as well as Northern Ireland, Northern England seeing clear spells at times overnight. In the south, Wales, across the Midlands, the south of England, it's going to be a misty night with a lot of low cloud, outbreaks of light rain and drizzle, but a mild start to Thursday with temperatures of 17 or 18 first thing. Now, the rain and drizzle across the south of England will ease through the morning. It will push further north into Wales, but for Northern England, Northern Ireland, as well as for much of the south and east of Scotland, plenty of bright weather first thing. However, there will be a keen breeze, and that strong wind across the north and northwest of Scotland will continue to drive heavy showers and longer spells of rain in as the day goes on, but those showers becoming fewer later on from the west. The rain in the south will move north, and so after a bright start to the day, Northern England, Southern Scotland, Northern Ireland turn wet into the afternoon. The rain not quite reaching the central belt, 18 Celsius here, but it's very warm in the south as skies brighten, 23 or 24 Celsius. An even warmer day expected on Friday in the southeast, with temperatures reaching the mid-20s in places. Likewise, it's bright but cool across much of Scotland, Northern Ireland, and for parts of northwest England, but in between there will be spells of wet weather through Friday, and that rain will be fairly extensive as we start the weekend before gradually getting drier next week.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good evening, this is the latest AI travel news from GBnews.com. Motorists on the M74 at junction 13 should exercise caution due to a traffic incident. In East Sussex, the A27 eastbound between A22 Polegate West and East has lane closures following a collision. Near Leicestershire, the M69 northbound between junction 1 and the M1 is congested. In Warwickshire, the A446 northbound between the A452 and the M6 faces congestion. Eastbound drivers on the M4 between junction 11 and 10 near Wokingham can expect 1.5-hour delays. And on the trains, there is disruption between Exeter St David's and Newton Abbot and on various Great Western Railway routes. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
It's our biggest Great British giveaway to date. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas and has all of the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that any adventures you take in your new motorhome are taken in style. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check